Film Classics. I'm Julia.
And I'm Francesca, and we're members of the research team at the Walt Disney Archives.
Since we're at the beautiful Coronado Springs Resort with influences from the Three Caballeros, let's explore the stories and lore behind three of our favorite feathered friends.
Yes, so in our first program, we're going to provide an overview of this historic journey, what it set out to achieve using some incredible and rarely seen images from the Walt Disney Archives photo library, which spans some 25 million photos.
In fact, we're going to show you all 25 million of them.
But before our animated compadres asked if they've been to Bahia or if they had the stars to guide them, the idea of these adventures were sparked on a research trip that changed the creative trajectory of the Disney studio.
So let's hop on the Bahia Express and head back to 1941, where Walt Disney and a group of handpicked individuals lead on a global tour of Latin America. During World War II, the Coordinator for Inter-American Affairs agency asked Hollywood filmmakers to include Latin American themes in their films as part of a good neighbor policy.
Walt was personally asked to be a cultural ambassador to South America, so on August 11, 1941, he and El Grupo, the nickname that would be given to his artists that accompanied him, departed.
Interestingly, Walt had brushed off the idea, saying he wasn't good at shaking hands. However, when it was suggested that he could concentrate on research and motion picture development, he changed his mind.
So, the Disney group included 18 members in total. There were 15 studio employees, 2 wives, including Walt's wife Lillian, and Walt Disney himself. They didn't all travel together though. When Walt's flight touched down in Rio de Janeiro on August 17, 1941, this group was actually the last to arrive. It was then when the Goodwill Tour officially began.
With their unique background and months of preparation behind them, the members of the Disney party embarked on their adventure, poised for experiences that would inspire and transform them in ways they could have never imagined. El Grupo enjoyed extended stays in Brazil and Argentina, then split up into smaller parties to go to Peru, Chile, Bolivia, and other countries before returning home.
Early films and characters, El Grupo was welcomed with open arms in Latin America, from families and children to government leaders, artists, writers, musicians, and filmmakers. People came forward with warmth and excitement to meet them.
It wasn't about fame, it was about the shared joy of storytelling.
So this trip had 2 goals. First, to build that genuine connection and strengthen understanding between the people of North, Central, and South America, celebrating what unites us while honoring what makes each culture unique.
Second, the Disney team set out to learn, to respectfully engage with the vibrant tradition, music, art, and storytelling of Latin America. These experiences were not just memorable, they offered meaningful insights that would influence the future creative collaborations with deep appreciation for the cultures they encountered.
So, this wasn't just a trip, it was a journey of connection, curiosity, and creative inspiration rooted in mutual respect.
Walt and El Grupo ultimately set a standard for celebrating international culture and mainstream family entertainment.
Yeah, and these 2 feature films that resulted from these trips, Los Amigos in 1943 and The Three Caballeros in 1945, forged a sense of goodwill among the peoples of the Americas like few works of art ever had.
The cameras never stopped rolling, and luckily for us, neither did the inspiration. The artists returned from their journeys with reels of film, stacks of photographs and art, and heads full of ideas that would come to life in animation.
Was the key goal of the tour, and Walt gave serious thought to who should handle the camera work initially.
I heard that Herb Ryman was a strong candidate because of his cinematography skills.
Right, but Walt vetoed the idea, wanting Herb to focus solely on his painting. Instead, the primary filming duties went to artist Lee Blair, husband to Mary Blair, and producer Larry Landsberg, who utilized an assortment of gear, including a newly purchased Eastman Kodak camera and tripod telephoto lens. Walt told them to capture everything. He wanted to see everything, and as a result, we now have hundreds of rare photographs from this trip safely stored in the Walt Disney Archives collection. Walt also brought his own Bell & Howell Filmo camera and shot a substantial amount of footage himself. So what began as a simple plan for internal documentation began to take on greater significance. Candid material would make its leap from backstage to center stage, as footage captured by Walt and team would eventually make its way into the film Some of Los Amigos for its theatrical debut.
But even with hours of film footage, they were still missing some shots, right?
Well, yes. They were busy bees, so they missed out on capturing certain events such as artists boarding planes or sketching gauchos. So the solution to fake them right in remained. So back in their travel clothes, the group staged authentic moments at the airport in Burbank with Pan Am's help, boarding a clipper, lounging in the cabin, posing as the heated journey.
And in the same spirit of creativity, when they needed footage of the artist sketching, they transformed an open field on the studio lot as a stand-in for Argentina.
So true, Julia. And to match real footage of Argentine gauchos, animator Frank Thomas and Walt posed on a box under an empty sky, mimicking a sketching session. Frank Thomas even said, "They just need the shot. Walt pointing, me drawing, no trees, just sky." We're actually about to play a clip of that, so keep an eye out for that reenactment.
For many future productions, including Walt's People and Places Travel featurettes and the True Life Adventure films.
Wow, thank you so much, Mike.
Of course.
Thank you all for joining us today for our first installment of the Three Caballeros from El Grupo de Global Classics.
And don't forget to check out our exhibit, Charting the Course, Disney's Global Stories of Inspiration, exclusive to this event. Thank you so much!
Right. Welcome your next panel to the stage. Here are Leslie Iwerts, Tori Atencio McCullough, Kelsey McCullough, and Bobby Lucas.
Well, hello everybody. How you all doing? Hello. Good. Well, I'm honored to be here to be asked to speak about one of my favorite Imagineers and Disney legends, Ex Atencio, who you all I know, right? Yeah? Okay. This is Ex's family, and I'm going to scoot up a little bit here so you can see y'all. You know, this is pretty amazing. You all have written this book that's coming out November 4th, thank you. It's called Xavier Ex Atencio, The Legacy of an Artist, Imagineer, and Disney Legend. And it will be available exclusively at Destination D23 attendees this weekend at Mickey's of Glendale. So I'm going to introduce you all to these ladies. So Tori Atencio McCullough is X's eldest daughter and the only one of his 4 children who followed in their father's footsteps, having had her own 40-year career at Walt Disney Imagineering in the interior design department. Tori retired in 2016 and later co-authored a book about her Disney career, Women of Walt Disney Imagineering, 12 Women Reflect on Their Trailblazing Theme Park Careers. If you don't have it, go get it. Kelsey McCullough is X's first granddaughter. Following in the family footsteps, she started her Disney career working in technology for Disney parks in 2015 and has since moved over to working on technology innovation at Walt Disney Studios. Bobby Lucas could most closely be defined as X's grandchild-in-law. She is a writer, producer, and film professor in Los Angeles. In the Atencio family tradition, she spent part of her career at Disney, where she worked in the television department. So, how many years has the Atencio family been at Disney now?
87.
87.
Since 1938, there's been an Atencio working for the Walt Disney.
All right.
Look at this picture he drew when he was 8 years old. Like, really? As he was finishing high school, he was the editor-in-chief of his high school newspaper. And he thought, well, you know, I think maybe I'll go into journalism and follow in my father's footsteps. And so he applied to journalism school.
And lucky for all of us, he wasn't accepted. And so he had to figure out pretty quickly what his plan B was going to be. And he had a little bit of a knack for art, and he figured if I can't write for the papers, maybe I could at least draw cartoons for them. And so he applied to art school. There were no art schools in Colorado, so he applied to Chouinard in California, where he had some family, and he moved to Los Angeles. And in 1938, he enrolled at Chouinard for his first semester of art school, and he enrolled in a pre-animation class. And at the time, Chouinard had a very close relationship with Disney, and so for their final assignment, the professor told the class to submit a portfolio, and they would send it to Disney and get feedback for the students from real animators. And X was a self-described procrastinator, so he put it off until the last minute, but ultimately, He submitted his portfolio, and this is just a sample of what he submitted. It was a 12-drawing story about a cowboy named Pacheco who was entering a horseshoe throwing competition. And unbeknownst to him, Disney was actually looking to hire a new class of animators. This was coming off the success of Snow White. They were working on Pinocchio, and so they were looking through these portfolios actually to recruit some new talent. And through a series of coincidences, he actually ended up at the Hyperion studio talking to the hiring manager there, who said to him, hey, we looked through your stuff and like what you've got. How'd you like to come work for us? And as he would always tell the story, you know, he jumped out of his seat and yelled, holy Toledo, would I ever? And he ran the 3 miles home back to his house in Hollywood yelling, I got a job at Disney, I got a job at Disney.
Itself was wide open for interpretation. Steve Kirk did the initial drawings, and then he handed it over to X to make him cute and lovable, one of X's specialties. And so we have X to thank for the cute and lovable figment that we all enjoyed today.
Okay, anything else you want to say about the book?
We hope you enjoy it as much as we enjoyed putting it together. We learned a lot along the way, so I'm sure there's something in there new for everyone. But yeah, we've included a lot of his personal artwork, as you've gotten some glimpses of today. And so we're just really happy to share his story with everyone. Thank you so much.
It's a beautiful book, so you just cannot miss it. So hope you guys get to see it tomorrow. Pick up a copy. Thank you.
Many of you are going to be joining us for the Walt Disney's tour of Los Angeles coming up, and I'm so excited to be asked to be the host, so we're going to have a good time. So congratulations to whoever wins, and I will see you in October. Now, I just wanted to let you know that this weekend we're really excited to share some of Disney's creative ties to the landscapes, cultures, and storytelling inspired by destinations all over the globe. And during our brief stops, we're not going to have time for a comprehensive look at Disney Connections. So instead, we're going to explore some highlights that you might find particularly interesting. And as you can see, we're going to begin our journey in the diverse and vibrant country of India. Now, whether you grew up with Goliath 2 in 1960, like I did, or Marvel's Eternals in 2021, you've probably enjoyed Disney storytelling that was inspired by this country and its very rich cultures. So we're going to begin in the 1960s when Walt and his staff were focused on the creating of an animated version of The Jungle Book. The original tales by Rudyard Kipling channeled the English writer's experiences living in India. And longtime Disney studio artist and writer Bill Peet was tasked with creating a linear story from Kipling's more episodic adventures. And this story jumped back and forth in time, so they tried to create something a little more linear. Interestingly, the Peet's original treatment for The Jungle Book was somewhat darker in tone. And it caused an issue. There were several disagreements between Pete and Walt about the studio's direction on this film. And unfortunately, Bill Peet decided to leave the studio. So as the story evolved in the mid-1960s, more light-hearted characters were added and different light-hearted elements, including music. And the character of Baloo was expanded from just a minor role in the original version of the animated film into a key figure. And his relationship with the man-cub Mowgli became the central portion of the story. Now, behind Walt and Roy in this photo that you see, you'll see story sketches featuring a character that might not be familiar. It's a rhinoceros. And that was a holdover from Bill Peet's original treatment. And Rocky, as the character came to be known, didn't make the final cut, sadly. But The Jungle Book would become a wild success, and ultimately it was the last animated feature that was personally supervised by Walt Disney himself. Now let's continue into the world of Disney animation, but fast forwarding a half a century later. In 2020, Disney Junior premiered the acclaimed mystery adventure series, Mira, Royal Detective. And that was set in Jaipur, which is a fairyland that was inspired by India. Now while this realm is filled with magical things like flying rickshaws, it's very much based on real elements from South Asian architecture and culture. In the series, the brave and resourceful girl, whose name was Mira, was voiced by Leila Ladner, and she's appointed to the role of royal detective. And she'll stop at nothing to solve a case with her friends Miku and Chiku, who are a pair of mongooses, who you see here on the left in the picture. Is that supposed to be mongoose? Anyway, let's just say that Cod the Snake wouldn't stand a chance against these two. Another memorable Disney Channel entry is Cheetah Girls, One World. We have some fans out there. This third and final installment of the hit movie series follows the Cheetah-licious girls from they're performing in New York City to India, and there they try to star in a film that was directed by an aspiring Bollywood director. The movie was filmed on location in Udaipur, India. Excuse my Indian and Hindi is terrible. Continuing in the world of live action, who's seen Walt Disney Pictures' $1 Million Arm? It's a fabulous, please watch it if you get a chance. It's a fabulous film from 2014, and it features, it's based on the true story of a man named J.B. Bernstein, who was he was a sports agent. And it's his true story, and in it he stakes everything that he has on a reality show in India. And in it, he discovers two boys, and they learn the finer points of baseball. But more importantly, he learns about the teamwork, commitment, and what it means to be a family. It's a beautiful, heartwarming show. Now, the colorful posters that you see here represent some of the great family films produced by the Mumbai-based Walt Disney Company India and UTV, which is one of the country's leading media and entertainment companies. To give a warm welcome to someone from our team at the Disney Archives, the brilliant Julia Vargas. Right here.
So I'm a really big fan of this film, and I learned quite a bit while working on my master's thesis, which actually compared the 2016 live-action version to the original 1967 animated film. And if you think that the original Jungle Book was set in India, there's more to the story. Meeting notes from 1964 actually state that the setting of the original animated film was not India, but just the jungle. So the filmmakers in the 2016 iteration made conscious decisions to try to depict real locations in India that inspired Rudyard Kipling's story. Moving Picture Company Film, credited for the bulk of the visual effects for the movie, took thousands of photographs of real locations and creating a massive library of resource material that was matched to the finest details.
So that means that the backdrops in the jungle that Mowgli travels through encompass the entire environmental diversity of India.
That's right. More so, in the recent film, about 2,000 kids actually auditioned for the role of Mowgli. And so that would actually be the only human character in the film, and he'd be the only one actually shown on screen. So this was important, and the role went to Neil Sethi, whose cultural background is Indian, which makes his portrayal of Mowgli more aligned with Kipling's original stories.
And though his wardrobe is limited, the loincloth that Mowgli wore was inspired by a traditional dhoti, which is a garment that he would have worn as an infant. And actually, we have that loincloth in the archives. It's the only costume from the film. So thank you, Julia. I'm so excited. We had such a wonderful time working with the filmmakers as they worked on and developing the film. They came to the archives, and Disney legend Jon Favreau is a dear friend of us there. Now, I'm inspired to seek a viewing of the Jungle Book before my next session, so we will see all of you at our next stop, which is Disney Around the Globe. Thanks so much.